If he could just ignore the hunger, his dreams should follow. After all, he's left the countryside for Christiania, that wondrous city that no one leaves before it has made its marks upon him. His name is Pontus, and he believes he's destined to be a writer. One day, he too could leave his mark on the city, but that dream requires influences beyond his control. What he fails to realize, one painful blow after another, is that he injures himself more than outside forces ever could. Hello, welcome back. This is my second time recording this video. I had uploaded a first draft and I set it for the wrong date, so a few of you have seen that piece of shit with choppy editing. When I wrote this script many months ago, it was the best movie I'd watched all year, so I didn't want to post a terrible review for such a good movie. I've made some edits and have more to say. Let's move right along. Hunger was directed by Henning Carlson and co-written with Peter Seberg. Both of them were Danish, but this is an adaptation of a semi-autobiographical novel written by Norwegian author Knut Hamsun. Now, Hamsun was a vocal supporter of the Nazis, going so far as to give his Nobel Prize medal to Joseph Goebbels and write a eulogy for Hitler. Understandably, there was animosity toward him many years after the war, because Carlson wanted to make this a co-production between the three Scandinavian countries. He believed that Hamsun's son gave him the rights to the story to restore appreciation for his father's work. So, our protagonist Pontus is in dire straits. He's unemployed, work is hard to find, and he faces eviction any day. He goes so long without food that it affects his cognition. When he runs into acquaintances, he's distant because he doesn't want them to know he's struggling. Whenever he interacts with people, he gives elaborate accounts about how well he's doing. It doesn't matter who it is. Not even the homeless are spared from listening to his stories. He reconnects with an acquaintance and is offered a place to stay, but he rejects it, maintaining a semblance of pride. Even in dreams, the hunger filters through, but sometimes there's respite. Sometimes he sees the beautiful woman he's met at the park, the one he calls Ulayali. When he awakes, she's not there to comfort him from the hunger pangs. Immediately, the delirium and fatigue seize him. Despite the circumstances, he's able to write a piece he's proud of. He takes it to the newspaper office and impresses the editor, who offers him an advance payment, but this embarrasses Pontus. So he tells the man he doesn't need the money and walks out, turning down his only chance at a meal. Pontus cannot help himself. He's too distracted by dreams of success to deal with the shame of ordinary life. In his mind, his appearance and shifty behavior don't matter, because he belongs to a world of excellence. It doesn't matter what anyone sees. tries for work. A combination of ego and mental deterioration get in the way of being hired. He needs to eat. He needs to work to be able to eat. But self-imposed starvation has impaired him. Everyone sees that he'd be a liability. It's clear to see why Per Oscarsson won the Best Actor award at the Cannes Film Festival. Micro-expressions flickered on his face so naturally that you could forget he's playing a character. These expressions are subtle and desperate, exposing the struggle between his body and mind, and that constant tension makes his decline so devastating. In the beginning, it's easy to attribute his antics to quirkiness, but they gradually take on a darker quality. Behaviors that may initially seem like hyperactivity give way to neurosis, revealed by the twitching and jerking of a body that's failing. Social missteps turn into outbursts of anger, whether he's screaming at others for perceived rejection or cursing God in the sky. Even the scenes with Ulayali feel uneasy. The opening scene has this shrill piece of music that also plays during pleasant dreams, but this gives the sense that their affair is foredoomed. There's this memorable scene. In it, Pontus walks toward the camera past her. She's going the opposite way, but the lens makes it look like he's walking on a treadmill, taking steps without moving forward. Movement and time are connected, so this act of moving without actually moving forward captures timelessness in a symbolic way, but it also depicts the metaphorical distance between them. I didn't notice this when I saw it, but it's something Carlson has spoken about. In the interview I watched, he emphasized how important it was to make this film feel timeless, so he made specific choices to place less emphasis on the decade in spite of the horse-drawn carriages and flowy gowns. For instance, he made sure there weren't too many piles of dirt on the street, which was customary for this time. When Pontus tries but fails to get a job as a fireman, there were authentic fire engines from the 1890s in the station. He instructed the crew to keep them in the background so they wouldn't be the center of attention. I don't know if that was necessary because, again, the clothes into the decade, but sometimes lots of subtle things like that can make a difference. At least to Carlson they did. His crew didn't follow the same techniques as the historical costume dramas of their time, but that proved difficult because doing things differently made it feel too modern for their liking, and it screamed 1960s. Luckily, they had a breakthrough when they began experimenting with different lenses, and they realized that a telephoto lens could give it that indescribable feeling they were looking for. Visually, this could be mistaken for something from the 80s, but the score and audio quality are the giveaways. I don't know anything about art, but I can appreciate objective beauty, and this movie is full of beautiful touches. So many scenes look like paintings, and they made me think of Hammershøi's art. that was common back then. One thing that initially bothered me was the relationship with Uliali. I found it hard to believe that she'd be interested in someone like him. In my first video, I truly believed they'd made a connection, but when I was going through the movie again to cut clips, I picked up on a lot of body language that I'd completely missed. She's this gorgeous woman from a different social tier, someone who'd have plenty of options, and it dawned on me that his encounters with her could have been pure imagination. When they first cross paths, he's mesmerized by her, but he makes a horrible impression and then follows her around like a little weirdo. Shortly after, he dreams of her. What if he convinced himself that they'd gotten to know each other because it was the only thing that gave him comfort? Like a decade ago, I was at the park waiting for someone, and there was a homeless woman sitting on another bench. We made eye contact and I smiled because she was this tiny elderly woman. She asked if I'd watch her stuff while she went somewhere to use the bathroom, and when she came back, we started talking. She opened up a bit about her past, and I don't remember specifics, but I remember her claiming that she came from a noble family, but I didn't really believe her. When I asked what her name was, she looked off to the side for a bit and then told me to call her Mary, which only made me more doubtful. I feel like she might have lied about who she was so I wouldn't look down on her, and to this day it makes me sad that she didn't feel safe enough to let her guard down. Before I left, I told her I wanted to buy her a meal, and when I offered her something substantial, she insisted that a cheap burger from McDonald's was enough. I thought of her while watching this, and it helped me see Pontus's behavior from a different angle. People who end up in situations like this have nothing. Many of them only have their dignity to cling to. If they've gotten used to hunger, but the pain of being rejected by others feels worse, they might not want to accept help. I still remember the looks people gave me when I was alone with her stuff. Those minutes could not have passed slower. Can you imagine having people look at you like that all day, every day? It's no wonder some people find refuge in fantasies when reality is inhospitable. Some people can use their daydreams to their advantage, but for people like Pontus and possibly Mary, they can become dysfunctional. Many of us will have to abandon our dreams because they're incompatible with daily survival, but we can't beat ourselves up over this. Letting go isn't failure if we surrender the places and things that hurt us repeatedly. As Henry Ford once said, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Maybe you know people like Pontus. I do. It's exhausting when you care about someone and just want them to succeed after many failures. Offering a gentle perspective can help them see that they have options, but not everyone is that lucky. Life can be cruel, and some people simply aren't socially equipped to navigate it. Pontus struggled alone and was was forced to face the world on his own. For people like him, the toll of failure isn't just lonely, it feels permanent. If this is something you'd like to watch, I recommend Italian neorealism because that genre undoubtedly influenced this. It predates this movie by like 20 years, and I was reminded of Umberto D by Vittorio De Sica. If older movies aren't your thing,